fifth graders. We are going to look at our first lesson for Module 3, which is dividing by two-digit divisors. If we look at the first situation, it says, Marcia is arranging the seats for an award ceremony. She has 322 chairs that she has to arrange into 14 equal rows. How many chairs will Marcia have in each row? So if we look at our quantities, I see 322, I see 14. So I've circled the quantities. How many chairs will Marcia have in each row? That's what we're solving for. And it's important to note that these are 322 chairs and 14 equal rows. So that's our clue right there. Equal rows gives us some good information and a good hint about what we're going to be doing, which is dividing. So I'm going to get another piece of paper here to work on and work with me. If you haven't already done this, check your work if you have. So we have 322 divided by 14. So I want to think about what I know. I can do some guessing and checking. If I can think of just a double for 14, 14 times 2 is 28. So I think that's about as close as I can get. I'm going to use that. 14 cannot go into 3, but 14 does go into 32. So that's where my 2 is going to go, right above the 2 that's right there in the tens place of our number. And we're going to then do that multiplying. 2 times 14 equals 28. I'm going to regroup and subtract, and we have 4 left. 4 is less than 14, so I can bring down my next digit, and now I have 42. So I know 2 isn't going to be enough right there. I might do some guessing and checking off to the side. I'm going to do 14 times 3, do some regrouping, and I get exactly 42. Since I was working with this 2 that's in the ones place, that's where my 3, that goes up above in my quotient. I do 3 times 14. I've done the work off to the side, so I know that's 42. I end with a 0, no remainder. How many chairs will Marcia have in each row? A reasonable answer, 23 chairs. All right, there's number 1. For number 2, I've linked with this video in Google Classroom, I've linked a video from our book company website, so you can follow along with that video. I'm going to skip number 2 for now, and I'm going to go to number 3. Slide my book a little bit. All right, this situation says, the new theater has 465 seats arranged into sections. If there are 17 sections in the theater, how many seats could be in each section? So there's more than one possible solution here. We're going to apply what we know about division and get a number of the seats.
Please report to the front, Warren Madrid. Thank you.
So sorry about that interruption. So like I said, there's more than one reasonable answer. So we're going to use what we know about division and get a number of seats in the section, and then use the remainder to maybe redistribute the number of seats. Let's see what happens. First, let's pick out our values. We have 465 and we have 17. We're being asked to find how many seats could be in each section. And again, it's important to remember 465 is representing the seats, and there are 17 sections. Now, it doesn't say equal sections. So let's see what happens when we do 465 divided by 17. I'm going to scooch down here in my notebook. 465 divided by 17. So I want to think about how many times 17 can go into 4. 0 times. If you'd like to put that little 0 there as a placeholder, you can. 17 can go into 46. I think 4 would be too many times. 4 times 1 would get me, or 4 times 10 actually, looking at that whole number, would get me to 40, but I still have this 7 in the ones place. So I know it's going to be less than 4. I'm going to try 3. 17 times 3, a little guessing and checking. Oh, that's still too much. I'm going to go with 2. So again, the 2 is going above the 6 because that's the place we're working in. 17 times 2, I know that in my head, is 34. I'm going to subtract. Since I got an answer of 12 there, 12 is less than my divisor of 17, so I know I'm on the right track. I'm going to bring down my next digit. Now, I did this guessing and checking. I know 3 isn't going to be big enough here. So I'm going to go maybe a little bit bigger. Let me go with 6. Let's see what happens. Just guessing and checking. 6 times 7 is 42. When I regroup, 6 times 1 plus 4 gives me 10. 102. That's pretty close. I think I might be able to get a little bit closer. Let's see what happens with 17 times 7. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 1 plus 4 equals 11. That one works. I'm going to put my 7 up in my quotient above the 5. I'm going to subtract 119. I have to regroup, and I have just a remainder of 4. So the question, if I look back, says, how many seats could be in each section? So is it reasonable to say there could be 27 seats in each section and 4 seats left over? How many seats in each section? So if I have 27 seats, how many sections would that be? 27 seats in each section. And would we have one section of just 4 seats? That could be one possibility. There's more than one correct answer here. So we could decide how many sections that would be and then how many seats would be left over. All right, so that is one possible answer. I think I have enough room. I'm going to move this notebook out of the way. I think I have enough room in my book to do the rest of this dividing work. We have been working with just the traditional model. If you like to do it a different way and there's not enough space here for you, that's fine that you could use another piece of paper. I'm going to work right next to my problems. The first one says 1,150 divided by 25. When I evaluate, 25 cannot go into 1. I could put a little 0 placeholder there if I want to. 25 cannot go into 11. 25 can go into 115. So I'm working right here above the 5. And as we've talked about in class, if I can count quarters, I can get a good reasonable answer here because I know 4 quarters equals $1 or 100, and that would be what I would choose. 4 times 25 equals 100. I'm going to subtract. I have 15 left, so I know it is less than my divisor. I know I'm on the right track. I'm going to bring down that 0. Again, if I know counting quarters, I know 25, 50, 75, 100, or $1. 125, 150. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters there. I'm going to get rid of my little tally marks there. And then I'm going to subtract because that would have made my 150. I end with 0. So here we have a whole number answer of 46. Number 5, 805 divided by 35. Can 35 go into 8? No, it cannot. I could even put a little X there in that spot. Nothing can go there. Can 35 go into 80? Yes, it can. Now I have to determine how many times 35 can go into 80. I can do 35 times 2, and if I need to, I can write it off to the side to check, and I see that equals 70. I'm not going to get any closer than that, so I'm going to use that 2 above the 0. 2 times 35 did equal 70. I did the work. I can subtract and get 10, which is less than my divisor, so I'm going to bring down my next digit. Now I know 35 times 2 was 70. I think I could get a little bit closer. Let me guess and check with 35 times 3. And I get exactly 105. So my 3 goes up into my quotient. I've done the work of multiplication. I can subtract, and again, I end with a 0. Our whole number quotient equals 23. Well done. I have a little bit of a bigger number here. I think for 2,594 divided by 52, I'm going to turn my book to the side, and I'm going to work right here underneath my answer line. 2,594 divided by 52. I got a little bit onto my answer line, but that's okay. I'm going to look. 52 cannot go into 2. 52 cannot go into 25. 52 can go into 259. I need to do a little guessing and checking. I'm going to start with, maybe a 4. Let's see what happens. 2 times 4 is 8. 5 times 4 is 20. 208. Oh, look how close that is. Let's do one more. 52 times 5. 260. Oh, over by 1. So I'm going back with my 4. And I'm going to subtract the 208 from the 259, and we're left with 51. Look at that, just one less, but my answer here is smaller than my divisor, so I'm going to drop down my next digit. Now I have 514. I'm going to try 52 times, I think I'm going to try 8. Let's see what happens. 416. I think I can get closer than that. Let's go with that 9. You know that's as big as I can go in my quotient. 468. So that's as big as I can go because I can only put one digit in my quotient there. So I'm going to now subtract 468. I have to regroup. So I have a 14 there. The 1 becomes a 0. We have 6. Now I cannot do 0 minus 6. So I'm going to regroup again. There's my 10. I have a remainder of 46. So it got a little squishy here. I'm okay with that. I'm going to put my equal sign here. We have an answer of 49, remainder 46. And because my area got a little squishy, I'm going to box that answer so I don't lose it. Good. And one more, 927 divided by 13. I think next time I'll write a little bit smaller so that I have more room for my work. 13 cannot go into 9. 13 can go into 92. I think that's going to be pretty big because if I look at the 1 and the 9, I think 9 will be too much. Let me try an 8. 13 times 8. Oh, 104. Just a little bit over. I think I'm going to trust that it's going to be 7. I'm going to put that 7 in the quotient. If I do that work, I'm going to get 91. So close. When I subtract, I have 1 left. I'm going to bring down the 7 since 1 is less than 13. I know I'm on the right track. 13 can go into 17 one whole time. I'm going to subtract, and I have 4 left over. So my answer here is going to be 71, remainder 4. All right, gang, that is your practice for lesson 3-1, module 3, lesson 1. And if you have any questions, we can talk in class tomorrow. Thanks.